And she actually hates Blake Lively over an affair.
Is that Blake Lively developed some feelings for for Justin Baldoni. She has, been in love with Penn Badgley from, Gossip Girl, then she got with Ryan Reynolds.
Blake Lively, in my opinion, is no victim. It has been shown over and over that she is a terrible person. She is a bully. She deserves no sympathy.
Jennifer Garner tears into Blake Lively after exposing her shocking cheating scandal. And trust me, it's an absolute mess. Whether it's Ben Affleck, Leonardo DiCaprio, Penn Badgley, or even Justin Baldoni, Blake has been linked to just about every guy in Hollywood while married to Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds is now abusing his wife.
But hey, can you really blame a woman for being drawn to real men when she's stuck in a beard marriage with someone who's allegedly not even into women? And just to be clear, this isn't coming from me. The internet has been buzzing with speculation about Ryan for years, and after Jennifer Garner's latest revelations, things are really heating up.
Then there was the issue of Ben Affleck coming into the picture. Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck met in 2000 when making the movie Pearl Harbor.
We all know Jennifer Garner for her down-to-earth personality and wholesome image. She's one of Hollywood's most beloved actresses, charming audiences with roles in 13 Going on 30 and Alias.
For a while, that relationship worked, with the two being one of the biggest A-list couples in Hollywood, and Ben Affleck ended up proposing to Jennifer Lopez in 2002, giving her a $2.5 million engagement ring.
With a career spanning over 2 decades, she built a reputation not just as a talented actress, but as someone who embodied the perfect wife and mother. But behind the scenes, things weren't as perfect as they seemed.
There were some Jennifer Lopez fans that made fun of Jennifer Garner because Ben Affleck gave her a $500,000 engagement ring compared to the $2.5 million engagement ring he gave Jennifer Lopez.
Garner's public image has always been tied to her marriage with Ben Affleck. They were Hollywood's golden couple, affectionate, photogenic, and seemingly living the perfect family life. Married in 2005, they had 3 children together, and for a while, everything appeared flawless.
Things changed heavily relationship-wise in 2010 when Ben Affleck directed and also starred in the movie The Town and cast Blake Lively to be his girlfriend in the film.
But while Jennifer's career soared, her personal life crumbled. The cracks in her marriage with Affleck grew deeper every year, and one name in particular kept surfacing: Blake Lively.
Ben Affleck was 38 years old at the time, while Blake Lively was just 23 years old, and there were a lot of scenes where Ben Affleck would be making out with her. To make it worse, Ben Affleck, who was the director of the movie, instructed Blake Lively to have several scenes where he makes out with her and also touches her body intensely.
It all started when Affleck cast Lively in The Town. Garner was already suspicious, but when Lively, then a fresh face in Hollywood, was chosen as Affleck's on-screen love interest, the alarm bells got even louder.
There was clearly no objection from Blake Lively, who said she got along very well with Ben Affleck, and the two did a media tour together where many people in the press noticed they were flirting intensely during the interview.
During press tours for the film, Affleck and Lively's flirty banter in interviews was obvious to everyone watching. Lively, an up-and-coming star, seemed perfect for the role, but as the film's promotion progressed, so did the rumors.
At that point, things got progressively worse for Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck's marriage, where Jennifer Garner actually had to check him in rehab because he was drinking obsessively.
What started as cracks in Garner and Affleck's marriage had turned into full-blown fractures. The couple was living separate lives, and Affleck's well-documented struggles with addiction only added fuel to the fire.
And then finally in 2018, Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck got divorced, with the reason being cited that Ben Affleck was actually cheating on her with their kid's nanny. And they both moved on fairly quickly, where just 3 months later, Ben Affleck was in a relationship with Shauna Sexton, who was a Playboy model who was 22 years old, and he was 47 at the time.
Jennifer did everything she could to hold things together. She even took charge and checked him into rehab, trying to salvage what was left of their family. But at that point, the years of betrayal, public scrutiny, and personal heartbreak had already taken a toll on her.
Many people reported Jennifer Garner actually had another motivation for coming back for Deadpool and Wolverine, and that was saying that Ben Affleck's character of Daredevil was dead, which was some way of getting back at him.
After more than a decade of marriage, Jennifer and Ben finalized their divorce in 2018, marking the end of a long, turbulent chapter. Though they tried to remain civil for the sake of their children, it was clear that tensions between them still lingered.
And then in 2014, the studios wanted to work with Ryan Reynolds and Ben Affleck again on another movie which was described as a detective movie. The problem was Ben Affleck had to pull out of doing the movie because Jennifer Garner forbid Ben Affleck from working with the film on Ryan Reynolds because she knew she'd have to interact with Blake Lively again.
Jennifer Garner's life, once so closely tied to Ben Affleck, gradually became more about her own growth. she picked up the pieces and found stability in her relationship with John Miller, a businessman who offered the quiet life she had long craved. Meanwhile, Affleck's life spiraled further with a string of relationships, including one with a 22-year-old model, making it even clearer that Jennifer had made the right choice to move on.
There was another confirmation to the public that Ben Affleck and Blake Lively were linked together in an affair, and Jennifer Garner just never wanted to see her again, which was why she was refusing to do any events with her near her.
Though Garner never directly commented on Blake Lively's actions, her silence spoke volumes. She refused to work with Lively during the filming of The Adam Project and Deadpool 3, a clear sign that there were still unresolved tensions and resentment lingering beneath the surface.
The Justin Baldoni case has a full-blown cancel movement against her, where many people are calling her a homewrecker because of the Scarlett Johansson and also the Jennifer Garner case.
While the media continued to praise Blake Lively's Hollywood success and polished public persona, Jennifer Garner quietly carried the weight of her personal struggles, the scars left behind by those who had crossed boundaries in her life.
Another big indicator was during this time, Blake Lively and her longtime boyfriend from Gossip Girl, Penn Badgley, also split up.
Blake Lively has built a reputation not just as Hollywood's golden girl, but also as someone who frequently finds herself romantically linked to her co-stars. From the early days of Gossip Girl, her off-screen love life has often mirrored her on-screen romances, keeping the tabloids buzzing. Her dating history is far from ordinary, and the timing and nature of her relationships have only raised more questions about what's really going on behind the scenes.
Still, even though there were very strong rumors of an affair, Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck still stayed together, and Blake Lively later on began dating Leonardo DiCaprio.
Lively's first major public relationship was with her Gossip Girl co-star, Penn Badgley. Playing love interests on screen, their real-life romance seemed like the perfect match. But after several years together, Lively quickly moved on, this time to an even bigger Hollywood name.
That was a very brief relationship until Blake Lively met Ryan Reynolds when filming the movie Green Lantern together. During that period, Ryan Reynolds was actually married to Scarlett Johansson, who he got married to after a brief relationship of dating for only 6 months in 2008. Like rumors that happened during filming The Town of Ben Affleck cheating on Jennifer Garner with Blake Lively, there were now new rumors of filming during Green Lantern of Ryan Reynolds cheating with Blake Lively on Scarlett Johansson.
By 2011, Lively was linked to Leonardo DiCaprio, the Hollywood heartthrob whose dating life has been the subject of countless headlines. Their brief but highly publicized romance had Hollywood in shock as the two were spotted jet-setting across the globe, from the south of France to New York City. But what made this relationship even more intriguing? The timing. At the time, Lively was still married to Ryan Reynolds.
That happened from members of the Green Lantern crew who leaked information to the press that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were leaving their trailers to go get a hotel room and stay together while filming. The final nail in the coffin for Ryan Reynolds and Scarlett Johansson's marriage was Scarlett Johansson didn't attend the premiere for Green Lantern, but instead Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were seen together like they were a married couple.
Lively and Reynolds tied the knot in 2012, shortly after her whirlwind romance with DiCaprio ended. Their sudden marriage has always sparked curiosity, given how quickly it followed her high-profile fling with one of the most sought-after men in Hollywood.
And then just 1 month later, Ryan Reynolds and Scarlett Johansson got divorced, so then 1 year after that, he ended up marrying Blake Lively after she was seen in relationships with Penn Badgley, Leonardo DiCaprio, and also Ben Affleck.
Lively's pattern of falling for her co-stars repeated itself with Reynolds. Although she appeared happily married, her emotional ties to her previous on-set relationships have continued to surface over the years. Many have speculated that her deep emotional bonds with certain leading men may have played a role in her marriage dynamics.
At this point in time, Ben Affleck and Ryan Reynolds were friends because they did the 2006 movie Smoking Aces together, which was a hit, making $58 million on a budget of $17 million. And then in 2014, the studios wanted to work with Ryan Reynolds and Ben Affleck again on another movie which was described as a detective movie.
But once again, Lively's pattern of co-star romances resurfaced, this time with Justin Baldoni during the filming of It Ends With Us. While their relationship was not physical, insiders claim it was an emotional affair. Their undeniable connection seemed to follow the same pattern as her previous romantic entanglements with co-stars. And as her emotional attachment to Baldoni grew, so did speculation about the real state of her marriage to Ryan Reynolds.
Everything we're reading, it's not a lawsuit. I want you guys to know that we are not observing publicly back and forth a lawsuit. What we are observing is essentially a ticking time bomb, a timer on Ryan Reynolds' ego.
This pattern of seeking emotional intimacy, with someone she works closely with has followed her throughout her career. From Badgley to Affleck to Reynolds, even her relationship with Baldoni, while not physically intimate, carried the weight of this emotional attachment. This suggests that Lively may be prone to forming romantic attachments with those she works with, especially when the relationship requires intense personal connection.
Is that Blake Lively developed some feelings for for Justin Baldoni on set. Has happened to her. She has, been in love with Penn Badgley from, Gossip Girl, then she got with Ryan Reynolds. All these people, they're on set, and their job is to sell that they're falling in love.
Now, let's turn to Jennifer Garner's explosive accusations, which shed light on a much darker side of Blake Lively's love life. Garner, having experienced the heartbreak of infidelity firsthand, has been vocal about what she believes to be the driving force behind Lively's actions. According to Garner, Lively's romantic entanglements aren't merely about physical attraction. They are rooted in emotional dissatisfaction with her marriage to Ryan Reynolds.
And a lot of times, as we see with actors and actresses, it actually happens. And there's no question in my mind that Blake Lively caught real feelings for Justin Baldoni. That comes across when you read his filings and you see how easily he disputes all of her narratives. And the thing is, why I say this is not a real law.
Garner has been outspoken in her belief that Reynolds, despite his charming public persona, may be hiding a deeper, darker truth about his identity. She has suggested that his emotional issues stem from unresolved conflicts dating back to his childhood. This, in Garner's view, is the root of the problems in his marriage to Lively.
She invited him to her penthouse and he was holding her baby. The guy that sexually harassed you, you're not having him to your house and letting him hold your kids. This is 10 times worse than the Amber Heard lawsuit. It will be 10 times worse.
The situation is even more dramatic than the Amber Heard lawsuit. It will be 10 times worse. Garner believes that Lively's romantic misadventures, including her affair with Justin Baldoni, may be driven by a desire for emotional fulfillment that she wasn't receiving from her husband. Garner has even gone so far as to accuse Blake of using her co-stars to satisfy emotional needs that were not being met by Reynolds. This accusation hints at a much larger issue: Reynolds' alleged hidden identity.
Is Blake Lively a beard? Is she there just to produce kids and to give him that family image?
Garner has suggested that Reynolds may be closeted, using younger women like Blake Lively as beards to maintain the facade of a heterosexual marriage. This theory would explain, at least in part, Lively's repeated romantic entanglements with men she worked with. According to Garner, Lively's emotional affairs may have been a way for her to seek validation and intimacy that her marriage to Reynolds was failing to provide.
It will be 10 times worse for Blake Lively if she is meant to hit this stand. And what alarms me, and this is quite ironic, it's like a dark irony here, as this film is about domestic abuse. What is happening now, in my view, is Ryan Reynolds is now abusing his wife. This is like litigation abuse. He is trying to inflict pain. Again, this is my perspective, pain and punishment, because he has come undone, realizing that she had some sort of an emotional affair with Justin Baldoni.
Ryan Reynolds' hidden identity has long been the subject of speculation. His close, almost obsessive relationship with Hugh Jackman, for example, has raised eyebrows. Garner, in her criticism, implies that Reynolds' relationship with Jackman could be more than just a friendship. She suggests that the intense bond between the two men could be a clue to Reynolds' deeper emotional struggles, hinting at a possible suppressed attraction to men. This theory would explain not only his behavior, but also his lack of emotional availability in his marriage to Lively.
He's got this on camera, the way that he just dropped that scene on camera. So Ryan knows that there is videographic evidence, that there's photographic evidence, that basically everything that's being claimed here is easily just...
Blake Lively, according to Garner, may have been seeking emotional fulfillment in all the wrong places. Her affairs, particularly with her co-stars, may stem from the deep dissatisfaction she felt in her marriage to Reynolds. Garner has suggested that Lively's connection with Justin Baldoni was not simply an affair. It was a search for something more profound, something that she wasn't getting from her marriage.
Ryan is now trying to get a gag order as opposed to ending the lawsuit means that he has not yet come to terms with his ego.
But why would Lively stay with Reynolds if these emotional needs were unmet? Some have speculated that Lively might be too invested in maintaining the public image of a perfect Hollywood couple. Reynolds and Lively are seen as one of the most glamorous pairs in Hollywood, and any deviation from that image could be damaging to their careers.
It's scary. That's narcissism, right? Like that is not a relationship you want to be in, because he's basically saying, I will burn down my entire house. I will burn down your career, and I will burn down my career, and I will also inflict pain upon our children.
For someone like Lively, the pressure to maintain this facade might be too much to ignore. Yet, as Garner's accusations suggest, it could be that Lively's affairs were a cry for help, an attempt to seek the intimacy and connection that her marriage to Reynolds lacked. The accusations that have come to light shed new perspective on the dynamics of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's marriage. It's not just about cheating, it's about the emotional battles and hidden truths that lie beneath the surface.
This is an unwinnable lawsuit. The biggest loser in all this, by the way, is the New York Times. Like, how stupid. I mean, it must have been a phone call. They have to settle this. There's no way that he lost things. Justin Baldoni has real damages.
As more information emerges, it becomes clear that the story is far more complex than anyone initially realized. Whether or not Garner's suspicions about Reynolds' identity are true, her perspective offers a unique insight into the emotional strain that Lively may have been experiencing.
They avoided every fact. That means they gave Justin Baldoni hours to respond, and yet he had film that could have disputed, and they didn't give him the time to produce that. They hit send on it because they were doing someone a favor, okay? And my instinct there is, like, I've heard Taylor Swift's, like, person behind the scenes is a woman named Tree.
While some might have expected a secret affair behind the scenes, what transpired between Lively and Baldoni seemed to be more emotionally charged than anything physical. Their connection was genuine and deep, with Lively developing feelings that ran far beyond the typical on-screen chemistry. Despite their professional boundaries, the two actors seemed to have formed a bond that would later prove to be a source of tension in Lively's marriage with Ryan Reynolds.
It was not to get to the truth. It was not to tell a story. It wasn't to break any news. This was doing someone a solid behind the scenes to make sure that Justin Baldoni could never work in Hollywood again. That person was Ryan Reynolds.
It's important to note that Blake Lively's relationship with Justin Baldoni was, at its core, emotional. The two worked together on the adaptation of the popular romance novel It Ends With Us, a project that required them to portray characters whose bond grew over time. Lively, known for her professional approach to acting, may have found herself connecting with Baldoni on a deeper level than she anticipated.
I think this snowballed and it spiraled, and she basically just had to let her husband, whatever it was that he saw, and he finally caught on to this quote-unquote emotional affair. Again, I'm giving my opinion, having now read the document.
The film's emotionally charged script, combined with the long hours spent together on set, gave rise to a strong yet understated emotional attachment. This connection wasn't driven by physical attraction or manipulation, but by the vulnerability that comes with sharing deeply personal moments on camera.
It sent him into a kind of rage that, like I said, it's like, figuratively, I'll kill everything in this house, and I don't care, because all I care about is harming Justin Baldoni.
Lively's emotional attachment to Baldoni wasn't just about their characters. Sources close to the production confirmed that the chemistry between them off-screen was undeniable. It wasn't a casual flirtation or a fleeting crush. It was something that ran much deeper. As they spent more time working together, Lively found herself emotionally invested in Baldoni, perhaps even more so than with any previous co-star.
She was never, in my view, sexually harassed. None of this happened, and they were getting close. That's what happened, and Ryan flipped a switch.
On the other hand, Ryan Reynolds, her husband, didn't take the situation lightly. His reaction to Lively's emotional attachment to Baldoni was not just one of disappointment. It was deeply rooted in his own insecurities and unresolved emotional issues. For Reynolds, the affair wasn't just a personal betrayal, but a reflection of the deeper issues plaguing his marriage. It's been suggested that Reynolds' anger toward the situation wasn't solely about Lively's actions. It was about his own feelings of inadequacy and vulnerability.
She has insider information. She's been contacted by sources regarding this whole Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively situation. But the focus has now come on to Ryan Reynolds.
Reynolds, a man who has always prided himself on his public image as the charming and self-assured actor, may have struggled with feelings of inadequacy that had nothing to do with Lively's emotional affairs, but rather with his own self-perception. This speaks to a more profound issue, the insecurity that stemmed from his childhood, which has been suggested to affect his relationships.
And it is very disturbing how he treats his wife. Now, Blake Lively, in my opinion, is no victim. It has been shown over and over that she is a terrible person. She is a bully. She appears to be a raging narcissist.
When Lively's emotional connection with Baldoni was revealed, Reynolds may have felt exposed in a way that triggered his deepest fears. He may have feared that Lively, in seeking solace with another man, was rejecting him and their life together.
There is enough out there to show that she deserves no sympathy. And she went along with her husband to do all of the things that they've tried to do to destroy Justin Baldoni.
Now, let's turn to the narcissism that many have accused Ryan Reynolds of displaying throughout this entire ordeal. Reynolds has long been seen as one of Hollywood's most charming and self-assured stars. His wit and public persona have made him a fan favorite. However, as the drama surrounding Lively and Baldoni unfolded, it became apparent that Reynolds' behavior was driven by a much darker force, his ego.
But what Candace hit on in terms of he doesn't care if he destroys his wife. He doesn't care if he harms his children. He doesn't care. This man is focused on his ego. And everything that he says about his wife publicly is absolutely humiliating.
Narcissism is often defined by an unhealthy obsession with one's self-image and a constant need for validation, and Reynolds' response to the situation seemed to embody these traits. Instead of confronting his personal insecurities head-on, Reynolds channeled his anger into the lawsuit, attempting to destroy Justin Baldoni's career. The lawsuit became Reynolds' way of asserting control, not just over his own life, but over the narrative surrounding his marriage.